guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to do a Q&A video. I asked you guys here on YouTube and over on my Instagram as well to submit some questions for me, and you guys did not disappoint. I've got a ton of questions, so I'm going to go over them today. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get to all of them in this video, but I'm going to try. I just don't want to make this a super long video. But before we get into it, you know the drill. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And if you like this kind of content, I would really appreciate a thumbs up on it. And now let's get into it. Oh, one more thing before we get started. Yes, I'm wearing my glasses. I hope they're not super distracting with the glare. I can definitely see that there is one on the viewfinder here, but my eyes have been giving me a lot of trouble lately. I was actually planning on making this video like a get ready with me kind of video as I answer the questions, but I just couldn't do that today because my eyes were really bothering me. I didn't want to put my contacts in, and to do that kind of video, I felt like I needed to wear my contacts so I could actually see what was going on around me when I was working on my makeup. So I decided not to do that. But yeah, hopefully it's not super distracting, and going forward, I think I am probably going to be starting to wear my glasses in videos a lot more. Like I said, I hope that's not distracting. I think I can actually do a poll. Why don't we do a poll? And I will ask you guys, is wearing glasses in videos where you can kind of see a reflection super distracting? Please let me know. It probably won't deter me from wearing my glasses in the future, honestly, just because my contacts are just so uncomfortable. But I am curious to see what you guys think. All right, now let's get into all the questions. All right, so first off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who submitted questions. Like I said, I got some really good ones. Really appreciate you participating in this video. Made it a lot of fun, so I wasn't having to actually make up questions by myself. I was worried that I was going to have to do that, but I promise you I'm not doing that today. All of these questions were asked. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so the first question was asking me about my online psychologist that I used when I was in the pre-approval phase, or when I was starting to get ready to have my gastric sleeve. So the company that I used is called, what is it called? So the company that I went through is called Advantage Point Behavioral. I think that's pretty much all that they do. Maybe not all that they do, but that is like their main thing, is talking to pre-bariatric patients and making sure that they're ready for surgery. I was doing a little bit of research because I honestly couldn't remember, and I couldn't find it in my emails what the name of the company was called. And people had said that their psychologist that they spoke with through this company were actually bariatric patients themselves. I honestly don't remember my psychologist that I spoke with, if she said anything or not about being a bariatric patient. I don't recall. I'm sure not all of them that work for that company are, but maybe there's a handful that are as well, which is really awesome. I think that's super cool. But I had a pretty decent experience with that company. It was a quick 30-minute phone call. As I've mentioned before, I did a lot of self-reflection to make sure that I knew personally that I was going to be ready for bariatric surgery, so I think that helped. And I just spoke very honestly with the psychologist, and I got approved no problem. The only thing though, for whatever reason, my insurance did not cover that phone call, so I had to pay $200 out of pocket for it. It says on their website that they do work with most insurance companies, and I think mine is actually listed on there, but for one reason or another, mine was not covered, and my insurance is really good, so I don't know exactly what happened there. I was kind of bummed about that, but it was super convenient. I had no issues using them. Someone wants to know how my husband has handled the surgery. How has he coped with my portion size and diet change? I think you've asked this question of me a couple of times, and there for a while I was thinking about making an entire video on that subject because I think it would be really cool, but I really just don't have that much to say on it because my husband has been very supportive. At this point, being 8 months post-op, I really don't see it as that much of an issue. My daughter is more of an issue for us at this point, and what she can eat, which I'll get to a little bit later. I think someone did ask about that as well. But as far as like me and him go, it's good. There really has not been any issues as far as like my portion size compared to his. It's not an issue. Like, I just eat what I need to eat, and he knows that I can only eat certain things. And when we decide to go out to dinner, he's very conscious of choosing something that he knows that I can eat, or going to a place that has at least one offering that I can eat. And like I said, now my daughter is even more restrictive as to what she can eat, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I mean, really, he's been very supportive. Initially, when I first told him that I wanted to do the surgery, he was very iffy about it. I will say that. He was not super on board. He never once told me, I don't want you to do it, but he was more like, oh gosh, I don't know. And I think at first he didn't even completely comprehend that this was like an actual major surgery. I remember him kind of freaking out a little bit about that when he realized that I was going to have to be put under anesthesia, that I was going to be staying in the hospital overnight. I think he thought it was just some quick in and out kind of thing, which I never led him on to believe. He was just, thinking one thing, and, it was a completely different thing. Once I started, going to the different doctor's appointments and getting my clearances done and, sticking to the pre-op diet, he was very supportive. Like I said, nervous, but very supportive. And then after my surgery, like he's been nothing but supportive. We've had no issues. All right, someone wants to know if I'm planning on having any more kids. No. I have an 8-year-old son and an almost 3-year-old daughter. She'll be 3 in April. That is enough for me. When I was young, I always wanted 3 kids. I thought that would be like the perfect number. I thought that was such a great number to have, 3 kids, boy, girl, boy. That's exactly what I wanted. Boy first, girl, and then boy again. But no, after having been pregnant twice and giving birth twice, no. 2 is more than enough for me. I don't plan on having any more. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. My hands are full with the 2 that I have right now, and I absolutely hated being pregnant. I had a lot of complications when I was pregnant. I had some with my son and even more with my daughter, so I have a feeling that a 3rd pregnancy would be even more complicated. So yeah, I definitely don't plan on going down that road again. I'm perfectly happy with the 2 that I have. All right, someone wants to know how old I am. How old do you think I am? How old do I look? What do you think? Put a number in your head. What do you think? All right, got it? Okay, I'm 35. Did you guess higher or lower than that, huh? I don't know. Let me know down below. I'm curious. I feel like people do always think that I'm younger, and I'm really, really fortunate. I like that people think that I'm younger, especially now since I've lost so much weight, because I feel that when you lose so much weight, you know, you get a lot more wrinkles on your face, and I definitely feel like my wrinkles are deeper than they were before. But I do still feel like people think that I'm younger than I am, which, like I said, I do like, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you thought I was 47. Oh, that's right. Someone in my comments recently did say that I look like I was 45. I forgot that. Do I look like I'm 45? I hope I don't, but if I do, you know, I'd rather be looking like I'm 45, you know, when I'm only 35 and be healthier than being where I was before. So I take looking like I was 45 than, you know, feeling like I was 45, if that makes sense. How did I decide between RNY and VSG, or gastric bypass and the sleeve? I really, for a while, not for too long, I was kind of on the fence. I have mentioned in the past that initially when I first started looking into this, I was all about the lap band. That's really what I wanted, but lap bands just really are not done hardly at all anymore. There's a lot of complications with them, so that quickly went out the window. And I was like, lap band versus gastric bypass. Like gastric bypass, I think has a slightly higher success rate, like 5 years down the line, than a VSG. But a VSG is less invasive. They're not doing anything to your intestines where they do it with a bypass. So for me, it just kind of was almost a no-brainer to go with the sleeve versus the bypass, just because it is a shorter, less complicated procedure, which definitely felt safer to me. Not saying that gastric bypass is an unsafe procedure, because it's not, but just for me, the sleeves just seemed like the better way to go. And why did I decide to have bariatric surgery? Many reasons. I was just unhappy with who I was and what I looked like. I mean, that was definitely part of it. But the main catalyst for getting me to actually go see the doctor was my blood pressure medication and how dependent I was on it. There was one day last February where I had forgotten to take my medication, and I had kind of a case of vertigo. I was very dizzy and just kind of disoriented one morning. And as soon as I remembered that I hadn't taken my medication and I took it, 20 minutes later, I felt really good. So I realized, okay, I'm very dependent on this medication. I hate being so dependent on it because there's all those recalls for all the different blood pressure medications, and some of mine were included in those recalls, which really did scare me. I hated taking them. So that really was the catalyst to get me to go see the doctor, was trying to get off my blood pressure medication. Someone asked, how are my scars healing and are they noticeable? I have, I think, 6 scars, which is quite a lot. I've heard even now that they'll do them with just one scar, like straight through your belly button, so you don't see any scar at all. And I have got like a whole circle of scars on my stomach, but I also have a lot of stretch marks on my stomach. And last year I had 2 moles removed on my stomach as well. So my whole stomach area is just like a big old mess. But as far as my actual bariatric surgery scars go, they're not too bad. Some of them are very, very small and they've lightened up quite a bit. One of them is like right under my bra, and that one actually, like the little like tape thing that they had on there that was supposed to stay on for a couple of weeks, it rubbed off I think within the first week. So that one is a little bit different looking, but it's not bad. And one of the moles that I had removed actually last year became a keloid scar, unfortunately. So it's like raised, it's like a little bump. So that one I would say I hate more than any of my bariatric scars. So next time I go to the dermatologist, I'm going to see if she can put a little bit of a steroid in there. They did that for one of mine, for this one here. I don't even know if you can see it, but a couple years ago when I had that mole removed, it like became this huge keloid scar, and it was really bright red. It honestly looked like a third nipple, like right in the middle of my chest here. But my dermatologist injected me with a little bit of a steroid. I think we ended up having to do it twice, and now it's completely faded, so you really can't see it at all, fortunately. But yeah, hopefully she can do that, because I really hate like that little keloid more than any of the bariatric scars that I have. All right, someone else wants to know, have I had a lot of loose skin after losing so much weight? Not really. I mean, do I have loose skin? Yes, but I feel very, very fortunate in that respect that I don't have more. I was going into this thinking that I was just gonna have like skin hanging down to my knees. I was really prepared for that, and that has not been the case at all. Now, will I go out and wear a low-rise like hip hugger bikini style? No, because then you would be able to see all of my loose skin, and I would not feel comfortable with that. But I have a high-rise bikini that goes up right around my belly button, and I wore that while we were at the water park a few weeks ago, and I had no issues. I didn't feel uncomfortable at all wearing that. So I can hide it pretty easily. Maybe at some point I will do like an Instagram post where you can see all of it. Like I said, I don't think it's too bad considering I've lost 90 pounds, which I hit this morning. So yes, I have officially lost 90 pounds. Super exciting. But yeah, considering how much I've lost, it's not too bad. And you know, why don't I just go ahead and show you what my arms look like, which they're faring very well as well. I've got this tank top on so you can see, but that, hopefully, did I show you my armpits? Nope, there's a little bit of hair there, sorry. But that's what my arms look like. Really not too bad, right? Considering I've lost so much. I mean, there's a little bit, but I mean, it could be so much worse. I do feel like I'm very, very lucky in that department. All right, next question is, how do you get so much water in quickly without feeling full or bloated? And I think that's in response to my Instagram that I had for today. And I actually have my little water bottle right here. So I do periodically put out little challenges to myself on my Instagram stories about trying to drink this amount of water. This is, what is it, 16.9 ounces? Yeah, so 16.9 ounces in the time that I sit waiting in my car for my son to get out of school, which is right about a half hour. Usually I go and sit and wait. My daughter likes to sleep in the car during that time, so that's why I go so early. But I'm never the first car. I'm always like the 10th car. So a lot of people go early too. They probably just play on their phone and stuff. But I do. I try to drink an entire one of these within like that half hour or so. And today I think I did it in about 20 minutes. But yeah, that does not upset my stomach at all drinking that. Like, I'm not guzzling it. I do take small sips. But yeah, water I feel just kind of goes right through me. It doesn't make me feel bloated. And again, remember, I'm 8 months out at this point, so I do feel like I am fully healed. Could I have drank this entire thing within 20 minutes 2 months out post-surgery? Probably not, and I would not recommend that. But starting at about 6 months, I really do think I noticed that my stomach, as far as drinking goes, I could drink a whole lot more at one time. I am still struggling with getting my water in on most days. Today I've actually done really, really good. I've drunk, I think, 3 full ones of these today. So as soon as I finish this, I will be completely done with my water goal for the day, which is awesome. But it definitely is a little bit of a struggle for me. So setting those silly little goals that I do on my Instagram has helped me in keeping up my water intake, and it doesn't bother me at all to drink that much that quickly. All right, someone asked, why am I gluten-free? Someone did also on my Instagram stories ask about one of my stories. I was talking about a horrible gluten-free pizza experience that we had tonight. It did not cook. It was very strange. Well, the outside cooked, but the inside was like all doughy and disgusting. My daughter has celiac disease. She was just diagnosed back in January. I did make a couple of videos on it. I'll go ahead and pop that playlist up there if you want to go see our whole celiac disease story. But that is why I was cooking a gluten-free pizza. My daughter cannot eat gluten, and my son has been very responsive, fortunately, to all of the gluten-free foods that we have. He does still eat gluten. He does eat prepackaged sandwiches, like the little Uncrustables. He takes those to school, and then any kind, I get him any kind of crackery kind of thing for the snack that he has at school. But as far as what we eat at home, it is almost, probably I would say like 93 to 95% gluten-free. So we've made the switch pretty quickly, which I think is definitely to the benefit of my daughter. Are we perfect? No. Are we still learning? Absolutely. There's so much stuff that contains gluten, which is really frustrating, but we do, of course, try to be as gluten-free as we can and as safe as we can for my daughter, because celiac can cause so many different issues down the line if you're not careful with it. So the better you have it managed, the better you fare like throughout your entire life, basically, is my understanding of it. So we are trying extremely hard to keep her off of gluten completely. See that? That's about how much I drank at one time. All right, next question. Is it okay to be scared of not losing enough weight? I'm 6 months post-op, 97 to 71 kilograms now. Unfortunately, I don't know what that is in pounds, but yeah, I definitely think that that's a valid fear, is that you're not going to lose enough weight and that you did this entire thing and you're not successful at it. The only thing you can do is follow what your doctor told you and stick with your plan, work out, eat right, drink all your water, take all of your vitamins. But I have seen quite a few people in the different Facebook groups that I'm on say that their sleeve or their bypass, whatever they had, has failed them. And that definitely is a valid fear, whether they were sticking to their doctor's plan 100% or not. Of course, I don't know. They could be eating things that they're not supposed to be eating, and their sleeve didn't fail them, but they just weren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. But assuming that they were following their doctor's plan and they're just not losing any weight, I do feel like that's definitely like a valid fear, but I'm very thankful that hasn't happened to me yet. I have met my doctor's goal for myself, and I'm getting very close to hitting my personal goal, which is to hit 100 pounds lost. So I'm 10 pounds away, which is awesome. But yeah, just if you are in that spot, just, really stick with your doctor's plan. There are things called the pouch reset, which I know is a little bit controversial. Some people say it works, some people say it doesn't, but you might want to try doing something like that, which is where I believe, and definitely do your research on it, but I believe it's where you basically go back on like your pre-op liquid diet for however long. I think it's just a couple of days typically. It's not like the full 2 weeks that a lot of people have to do pre-op, but you just basically are drinking protein shakes for a couple of days to kind of kick your sleeve or your pouch back into gear. All right, next question is, how is your overall confidence? Do you still struggle with your body image? I love that question. My overall confidence, I will say, since I've had the sleeve and since I've lost weight, has skyrocketed. And do I deal with body issues? Not nearly as much as I did before. And whether, that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. It is what it is. That's how I was. I was so hard on myself, and I hated looking at myself and my body before I had the surgery. And now I try to like sneak a peek in my big full size mirror like every chance I get, just to kind of say, oh yeah, yep, still looking good. Because yeah, my confidence has just completely skyrocketed. I have no problem with what I look like right now. Even like, 10, 15, 20, probably even like 30 pounds heavier, I really started to not have any issues with what I look like, which is just huge for me, because I've always been the kind of person that never wanted to get their picture taken, or if I was doing like a full body picture, I was always going to be in the back, or, make sure that I was positioned in a very strategic way to make myself look as skinny as I could. And I know not everyone feels that way, and I am very envious of people that are bigger, that don't feel that way. I think that's amazing, and to have all that body confidence when you are a size that maybe society doesn't think you should be. Unfortunately, that just was not me, like as much as I wish that it would have been, but it was what it was, and now it is what it is, and I'm just so much happier, so much more confident. So I feel like I have a very good body positivity outlook on myself now. I really don't struggle with my body image at all anymore. I mean, could I tweak some things here and there? Yes. But I'm not like obsessing over it like I was, and I'm so thankful for that. All right, someone wants to know what I eat, how much, and how often. As far as how often I eat breakfast, and then I don't eat again until lunch. Then around 2:15, I have a small snack, and then I eat dinner, and then I eat 2 snacks after my kids go to bed. So I am eating not constantly throughout the day. I do have a very strict schedule for my eating that I do stick with, but I do eat many times throughout the day. What is that? 6 times, I think, throughout the day that I eat. And as far as what I eat, I definitely do stick to just high protein, low carb. And then as far as how much I eat, maybe around 4 to 5 ounces of protein, for like either lunch or dinner. And then maybe like up to like, I don't know, between like a quarter and a half a cup of vegetables. I can eat all of that together, and I don't usually feel too sick. I have pushed myself. I think it was a couple of days ago, maybe last week, I ate probably maybe close to 8 ounces of meat, and that was way too much. Maybe it wasn't even 8, maybe it was about 6. Way too much. And then I also had some vegetables on top of that, and I did feel a little bit sick after I ate that. So I learned my lesson, and I know that I cannot eat that much food anymore. But I'd say between like 4 and 5, I'm good. 6 would be starting to push it a little bit too much for it to be uncomfortable for me. And of course, I don't want to stretch out my sleeves, so I am going to be very careful with that going forward. All right, so I think this is going to be the last question for the day. She asked challenges that surprised me or it's ones that I didn't expect. And then are there things that you're now sensitive to or don't tolerate eating? As far as challenges, not really. I mean, I have talked about, some unexpected side effects and stuff in some of my other videos. I'll try to remember to pop one of those up there, but nothing huge. They're kind of all been like little things. I guess one of the challenges that I have had is trying to live a life without NSAIDs. And I know that makes me sound like a drug addict or whatever, but I did rely heavily on NSAIDs before. And an NSAID is anything like Advil or Excedrin. And I would take those quite often before I had my sleeve, and of course you're not supposed to take those, so I was trying to get by with just Tylenol, and that really was very challenging for me. And I had that rollerball thing too, and those two things combined helped because I would get headaches. That's been typically my issue, but that never completely got rid of it. So I did talk to my surgeon about it, and he gave me a prescription for Celebrex, which does really help. I've been maybe taking 2, maybe 3 of them a month now, maybe not even, just kind of depends. I really try not to take that too often because I know it's not good for your stomach, but that really does work for me and it really does help. So I'm very thankful for that. And then one other thing, and I mentioned this in a lot of my updates, is my periods. I did not expect my periods to be as crazy as they are because I did have the Mirena, and my periods before I had my surgery were very long, but they were very light, and they were like very consistent throughout the entire 2 weeks that they lasted. Like I said, they were very light. And then after my surgery, things just went completely haywire for a few months, and they were so heavy. Like one of the months, it was literally like I had just given birth. It was the worst. It was so awful. And then even now here we are 8 months post-op, they're still crazy and they're still very heavy. So that was something that I did not expect at all, especially being somebody who has a Mirena to kind of regulate things and make your periods lighter, which is the entire reason that I got it in the first place. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time. I had mentioned that I did go see my OB and she gave me a medication, though I just realized I did not get a refill on that medication. It was a one-time thing. So I'm sure if I called, I could probably get them to give me another bottle of it, but I thought it was for me to use every single month, but she only gave me 1 month about it. So maybe I have to go back and see how I tolerated it. She didn't mention anything about that though, so I don't really know, but I think I will probably try to get a refill on that prescription just because my periods have been just so awful. So that was definitely something unexpected. And then as far as if I'm sensitive or don't tolerate eating anything, I don't think I've come across anything specific that I cannot eat anymore. Here and there have been things that have made me a little bit queasy, but it's typically been things that I've already eaten a bunch of, and it just happens to be like that one day that it caused me issues. And there was that one time back, I think maybe I was 5 months, my first dumping syndrome episode where I had a Wendy's side salad that day, and then hours and hours later I got the dumping syndrome, so maybe that I couldn't tolerate, but I can do other side salads just fine. And I know a lot of people have said that they don't tolerate lettuce very well anymore. I can eat it without any issues typically. It's just that one salad, the Wendy's side salad, that gave me some issues. But really, I don't think there's anything. I mean, I don't eat any sugar really. So if I were to eat that, then maybe that would give me some issues. But I don't eat that. I don't eat anything high carb, nothing like that. So there might be some things that I can't tolerate anymore. I just haven't found them yet. All right, so those are all the questions that we're going to go ahead and get to today. If I did not get to yours, I apologize. I just really did not want to make this video too long. If there is an interest, then maybe I will do another Q&A video sometime down the line in the future. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today. I truly appreciate it. And again, thank you to everyone that submitted questions. But yeah, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I put out videos every week or so. I'm really trying to be good about putting out at least one video per week. Go ahead and follow me over on my Instagram. I will have that linked down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!